What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. Today, I am doing my list, my 2009 list, and I'm gonna say I'm actually surprised I was able to get to 9. I thought it was gonna be kind of like maybe 4 or 5 because 2009 was just kind of weak. There was a lot of bad. I mean, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen, fucking first Avatar, which was mediocre. You had fucking Jennifer's Body. There's a lot of bad shitty Star Trek. I know. I mean, I personally didn't hate it like others, but X-Men Origins Wolverine. There was a lot of bad movies in 2009. Oh, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That was that year, so there was a lot of shit in 2009. So the fact I was able to come up with 9 was kind of crazy. I'm surprised. I thought I would maybe come up with like 4 or 5, but here we are. So today we're doing that. And then later, I'm going to do the video I was supposed to do on Saturday, but I figured, Merry Christmas. Why not do 2 videos? So in the evening, like sometime tonight, it'll probably be a little late, I'll be doing my Screen Rant is Gay part 15, the one I was supposed to do the other day. So we're going to be doing that. And I'm a retard. I forgot I had already reviewed Jack Frost 2. I for some reason didn't remember I did. I thought I just for some reason only did the first one last year. Nope. Apparently I did the second one. So tomorrow, I guess because we're not doing that, I'm gonna do Santa Shark tomorrow. Might be funny since it's a Christmas movie. So Wednesday I will be doing my, I don't know what number because I have to look at it, but I'm gonna do my top whatever number. Probably max would be 10, but I gotta see if I can come up with 10, but I'll do my best horror films of the year, and then later in the week. So Saturday, I'm gonna probably do worst. Actually, you know what? No, I think Friday I'll do worst movies of the year, and then Saturday we'll do the screen video that I was gonna do on Friday. I might just do that on Saturday. It makes more sense because then Friday. Why not do on Friday? We'll do the best worst movies of the year, and then Sunday I will be doing the best movies of 2023. So Wednesday instead, because I for some reason thought I forgot I had already reviewed Jack Frost 2. I don't know why I forgot it. I forgot I did it, but I did. So, but anyway, so I was able to come up with 9. So let's get into my 2009 list. The next list will probably not be next Monday. It'll probably be the following Monday. So no list next Monday, most likely. I might still put it together, or the 2010 one, but I don't think I'm going to do it next week. I might, who knows? I might change my mind and do it. We'll see, but most likely it won't be. I probably won't be back until the following Monday. But anyway, let's get to my list. But anyway, my number 9, sorry, is the My Bloody Valentine remake. And I'm going to be honest, this is one I remember really liking. I didn't see it at the time because I wasn't uber into horror. Because in 2009, I think I only really was still into the Scream movies. So I didn't watch this one like 2011, I think it would have been. Yeah, it was 2011. It was like on the Sci-Fi Channel. And I was just watching it that day because I think it was like Halloween weekend, I think, at the time. So this one was an interesting take because then, obviously I eventually rewatched the original, watched the original, and then we reviewed the original, and then this one not last year, this year for Valentine's Day. And I gotta say, I think this one's better. I think it has better character. Obviously, my boy fucking Jensen Ackles is in this, but pretty decent cast. It's a nice modernized take. You have fucking even have fucking um Tom Atkins. He's even in this movie. Though he dies pretty fucking brutal. The kills are pretty brutal. The miner's pretty cool, and I thought it was a decent way to implement 3D because it doesn't have like some 3D movies, especially at that time. Like that same year, you had that was another one that came out as another bad movie. The really Final Destination 4, or the Final Destination, whatever you want to call it. That one was pretty bad. Um, that was like bad in terms of like the use of CGI. I mean the like the 3D, and like this one didn't have that. I'm happy they didn't go that route with this one. Um, but yeah, so um, I like the reveal that it was Jensen. I like because it was a flip. Like because in the original it was the detective character was the killer. In the original. Um, so, but that's my number 9. Number 8 is hold on, I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry about this, guys. This happens sometimes. Especially because, I'm having a little too much fun on Christmas, so um just give me a second. Okay, I'm stupid. Now I remember now. My number 8 is Zombieland. This was I remember when this came out, and just seeing Jesse Eisenberg. I think this was the first movie I had seen him in, and I remember I only watched. I think one of the reasons I watched it was Woody Harrelson's. I had seen him in other movies, and just it was a zombie film, and I just remember watching and just being wowed at how funny it was. Abigail, great characters. The soundtrack's great. Fun take on zombies. Tallahassee is such a good character. Great character dynamics between the main group. Emma Stone's in it. Abigail Breslin, Bill Murray, the Bill Murray scene, and obviously just so much like it's just a great zombie film. It's not like it's not upper echelon zombie film for me. Like I won't put it up there with like fucking like Dawn of the Dead, like either Dawn of the Dead, especially the remake. But I do prefer probably more serious zombie films, but this is a great one. And unpopular opinion, I actually didn't mind the sequel either. I think a lot of people forgot. Like I remember like Zombieland 2 being like, oh, this is probably gonna suck, but I actually thought it was decent. Not as strong, but it was still decent. I think it's just a lot of people didn't remember it came out. I think it came out like around the same time as Joker, so it just kind of got forgotten. But Zombieland's a fun one. I mean, great. This for the characters alone, and it's genuinely a funny film. And the Bill Murray scene is hilarious. So I love Zombieland. I'm actually gonna probably review it at some point, the first and the second one at some point. Maybe soon. So yeah, but that's my number 8. My number 7 is Terminator Salvation. I remember seeing this one. This was a weird one because this is one I'll admit I did not like at the time. I didn't. And it was probably because I was in the mindset the Terminator film should have been like I was so used to the whole present, and I wasn't in the mindset I was now where I'm more open to like a future war film. I wasn't at that time, so that was part of it. And I liked Christian Bale, and I still to this day I have some issues with it. Like I think Bryce Dallas Howard I would have recast for a different chick. I think but I do think um, Christian Bale as John Connor is great. He's probably one of the best John Connor castings. Obviously, Edward Furlong is the GOAT, but I do not mind. Like Nick Stahl from the third one is all right, but it would probably be Christian Bale after Edward Furlong. I really did like him in this. I thought he played. I know a lot of people have said he kind of just plays Christian Bale's Batman without the mask, especially with the whole gruff voice. But I do think, for the most part, it's still not too bad. I love the action scenes. Pretty fun soundtrack. Um, so I'll give it that. They play trying to find those songs. Like, play a song like I recognize. Um, oh, Rooster. Yeah, they play Rooster by Alice in Chains in one scene, which is great. The Terminators look great. Some of the CGI for the most part looks good. The only character I really didn't care for. This was at that time they were trying to make Sam Worthington a thing, because you remember the same year he was in Avatar, he was in this as Marcus, and I'll admit Marcus is probably like the weakest part of the film for me. I just don't think Sam Worthington's a good actor. He's not a terrible actor, but he's not a lead. And I think this was at that time they were trying to really make him a thing at this time. And it just didn't work for me. So I would have, if they had just written him out, and the Arnold cameo is kind of cringy, like with the really bad CGI Arnold. And I know people don't like this movie, but the CGI Arnold in Genesis looked better. And it makes sense because that was in 2015, so it was a little bit later. But yeah, but overall, I do love the movie. I love that it's trying to do something different. Because if you think about it, they could have just did another. Because when you do those, send another Terminator back in time film, it does just become like Terminator 1 and 2 over and over again. And that's one of the reasons I didn't hate 3, but at least this one tried to do something different. You know, let's do a future war movie. They could have done it a bit better. Like if some of the side characters were a bit better, it would have been a stronger movie. But I consider this canon. It's 1 and 2, and then the future John Connor. You know. So, but overall, I do like this film. It has its problems, but I do like it. So, it's on my numbers. I had to put it on the list. I think I've grown to like it because, like I said, I didn't like it at the time. But then, like, when I watched it later, and I'm like, you know what, this is better. Especially, I think this was around close to when Dirk Fate came out. I was around when I started kind of, because I was just binging the Terminator movies, and at the time, I was like, I really did not like Salvation. And then it's like, you know what? This isn't that bad. Like, like I said, it has some issues, but it's still a pretty good movie. So that's my number 7. We are my number 6. Underworld Rise of the Lycans, which is basically the prequel that sets up Lucien's story and the vampire war. Rona Mitra is in it as like the love interest. She's the daughter of Victor. And I love how this movie was, and the fact that because this was in 2009, so this is like roughly around this would have been 6 years after the first one. He still looks the same, and the way it sets the story up perfectly. It's a perfect prequel, good story, good action. I love the background. I think this is how you do a spinoff. You go into it. I mean, the first movie does kind of give hints a little bit of kind of Lucien's past. Like you see cutscenes to kind of what happens in the end when he killed. Victor is a good villain too of the film, and you see a lot of the vampires and werewolves you kind of see throughout the film. The later movies, and yeah, I think this is a good telling of that story, and I definitely recommend it. I remember being a little iffy about it at first. I didn't see this in theaters. I think I saw this when it was on. It probably would have been when it was on one of the movie channels. So this would have probably been this was 2009. It came out, so probably late 2010, around one. Because I think that probably would have been around the time they would have probably started putting it on HBO or one of the movie channels. So, and yeah, I just remember being wild. I think I was hesitant because it wasn't Kate Beckinsale. Because I saw wait, that's not Kate Beckinsale. So, but I kind of wish I did see it in theaters because I hadn't seen the other two. And then obviously the later ones I saw. So this was the only one I didn't see in theaters. So overall, I really do love this film. Yeah, that's my number 6. My number 5 is Orphan. Orphan was an interesting movie. This was one I didn't see back at the time. I think this was also around 2011 because that was really when I was really getting into horror. And I remember just watching this, just thinking it was a little girl, this killer little girl movie, and the fact that we get a reveal that Esther is actually not a child. that scene is great. And she gets invited into his family. She worms her way into the family, and obviously we get Kate's kind of the only one who you might recognize her. She's the mom in the Conjuring movies, or she's Lorraine in the Conjuring movies. Um, and yeah, like the kills are great. I love that reveal. The reveal that she's actually a 33-year-old woman is so good. And the only when rewatching it though, the only not necessarily problem. The dad is an annoying fucking character. I kind of wish his death was a bit more brutal. Kate's husband, because the amount of like he is such a piece of shit. Like he just always every chance he gets, he has to take Esther's side and take side against his own wife constantly. Like it was ridiculous. It was even retardedly like by the point like her son Max was nearly killed. He's still like, oh, Esther's in this. It was awful. Yeah, like, and he was like the one character I wish went up, but pretty dope film. I definitely recommend it. The second one or it's technically a prequel, but they should have just made it a sequel because it plays out more like a sequel. It's actually pretty decent too, but the first one is really good. I think it's a good horror flick. Um, and yeah, Isabel Furman did a really good job as Esther in that. She's creepy. Because she has in the way they explain that she has some kind of condition that makes her look like a kid. I love that. Like it makes sense. Like you can have that question. Why does she look like a child? And then it makes sense. So, but that's my number 5. We're on my number 4 now. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best comedies of the 2000s. Definitely The Hangover. I remember seeing this the first time and I was dying laughing. Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, Zach Galifianakis, and basically the premise is Ed Harris's character, Ed Helms, Stu, is getting married. So they go to Vegas and they party too hard, and basically they wake up the next morning and they did a lot of shit the night before, and they have to you have fucking Leslie Chow played by fucking who that dude's like a pretty funny guy, 'cause he's also in like the the Community, so he's also in that. Ken Jeong, yeah, he is fucking great in it. Like just a funny cat. Mike Tyson. It is just a classically funny movie. And yeah, because they had their drugged. They had to like basically retrace their step and try to make it to the wedding by the next day. So basically that's kind of the movie. I don't want to spoil it, just the jokes, but it's a funny one. It's definitely one of the funniest movies I remember watching. And I remember it coming out and it just being at it. Like you can't even I don't even think you can make a comedy like that. And that was 2009. Like this wasn't like an old movie. I mean, it's old, but not old like that. Um but yeah, The Hangover was fucking great. One of the funniest movies ever. I mean, the fucking tiger scene. Mike Tyson stuff is some of my favorite sequences in the movie. So yeah, fucking great one. I'll definitely review it. The sequels, I don't think I'm even gonna review. If I were to review it, I'd probably only do the first one. I just don't think the second and third one are worth it. Like, I watched part of the second. No, I think I've seen the second one. I've never. I think it was the third one. I think I've seen part of it. It just didn't. Neither of them stuck with me. They felt like, okay, let's just do the first movie again, and it just didn't work. I don't think The Hangover really needed sequels anyway. Like, how many times are they just gonna get drunk and then forget everything the next? Like, you can maybe get away with that a second time, but I just don't see how you can make a trilogy out of that. Because it's like, how are you gonna do that 2 more times? That's when it just, especially in a comedy, like that's when it feels forced. They were gonna do another one, should have just done a second one, maybe with a different character, one of the other characters, and then that's it, no more. But they try to do 3 of them. It just, yeah. So if I were to ever review it, I'd probably only do the first one. I might mention the second one again in a video, but I don't think I'm gonna. I think the first one just it works so much better as a one off. So yeah, watch The Hangover. Definitely one of my favorites of that year. Um, my number three is the Friday the 13th remake. This was one I was iffy about when I first watched it, but over so many rewatches of this, to be honest, I think this is better than it's better than the original as a film. If I'm gonna be honest, I love the take of Jason. The only negative I have is I don't really like the whole he kidnaps the girl thing. That's not Jason. He doesn't take prisoners. That's not his character. He kills you. Even if the lady reminded of him his mom, I thought that's like Leatherface. Leatherface would do that. That's like my only criticism, but I like everything else. Decent characters. My boy Sam from Supernatural's in it, looking for his missing sister. Along the way, he meets a group of, going to, Trent is the douchey guy who Danielle Panabaker is dating. And, yeah, Trent is I'm fine with how much of a dick he was. It's Friday the 13th. Those movies have always had kind of douchey characters, but it works for this franchise. So, obviously Jason starts killing them. Jason played by, hold on, look for the actor's name, because Derek Mears. Yeah, Derek Mears was so fucking good as Jason. I loved his look. It was basically a blend of the first kind of three kind of films, because you had the opening, obviously, is the first one, but it was like in a flashback. And then you see Jason with the sack for a little bit. I think he killed, like, the opening scene. That scene when he boils the girl alive, that was pretty fucked. I'm not gonna lie, that fucked me up. Like, she was in, like, a fucking, like, one of those rucksacks, and he, like, hung her over the fucking fire, and she was, like, you saw her boiling and shit. It was, like, wow. So, yeah, Jason's pretty violent in this movie. And then, yeah, his bag gets damaged, so kills a guy, and then he takes a hockey mask he finds. And yeah, so yeah, but other than that, it's a great film. Good, decent characters, good final act. They clearly probably wanted to do a second one. I don't know what happened, why it didn't do well at the time. That is weird to me. Like, it didn't do well, because it's largely regarded as a good film by most people in the Friday the 13th franchise, fandom. Like, I would put this above, like, probably a lot of them, objectively anyway. Like, but this is definitely in the upper echelon of the franchise for me. But yeah, I really do dig the remake. So, but that's on my list. My number, clearly I didn't see it at the time. I saw it when I was first getting into Friday the 13th, which that would have been around like 2011, because I wasn't into horror like that at the time when this would have came out. But yeah, so that's my number 3. Or number 2, Inglourious Basterds. I mean, one of Tarantino's best. I do think it is a little overhyped by some people, because there are a lot of people who say this is like his best film. I don't agree. I don't think this is up there with, like, to me, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, even the Kill Bill movies, I'd probably put above this, but I do love this movie. I love the Inglourious Basterds. I love how violent it is unapologetically. Great cast. I mean, Michael Fassbender's in this movie. I just love pretty much Michael Fassbender in anything. Like, just in general, Eli Roth, Christoph Waltz, who, as Hans Landa, as the main villain, is so good. It's crazy, because in Django, he plays like such an ultimate good guy, and in this, he's the ultimate villain. He shows how much his range is. Eli Roth, Brad Pitt, obviously. Michael Fassbender is one of the Nazis. Like, just a pretty decent cast. And, like classic Tarantino, great characters, great dialogue scenes. Hans Landa, like the scene where just Christoph Waltz is just chewing up the scenery. is just some of my favorite things in the movie. Like the opening scene was so fucking good. Like the tension and just the tension building and just yeah, great. You know, obviously it's not real. It's like not it's an obviously an altered take because the way it ends with Hitler just getting killed, all the Nazis just getting killed at this theater. But yeah, still such an iconic movie. I definitely recommend it. It's one of Tarantino's best. I just don't think it's. I wouldn't put it up there with like. I don't think I put it at the top, just considering some of the other ones. But yeah, this is definitely a great one. And I mean, this had to be my second favorite. It's Tarantino for 2009. So other than that, my number one is Watchmen, the director's cut, the 4 hour director. To me, that is the movie. But even the theatrical cut was good. This was one I remember. You know, I had read the comic, and I remember when it was coming out. I unfortunately missed it out on it in the theater, but I remember watching it later and just being wowed. Especially I'd read the comic, how much the movie just lifted from the comic, and then watching the director's cut, which is so much. That's the only version to watch. Yeah, it's almost 4 hours, but it's worth it. It's such a the way this movie straight up is that comic, and a lot of people don't want to admit it, but I'm gonna say it. I think Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach is as iconic as Ledger's Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker. I think he is. That is one of the best comic book film signings ever. Jackie Earle Haley is Rorschach. I mean, Dr. Manhattan, I love the opening. Even though, yeah, the comedian is, if we're going to be real, he's a piece of shit in real life. That scene when he's almost repenting for what he's done, you know, because they go through 3 different things he did bad. You know, obviously, the attempted rape on Silk Spectre, killing his pregnant wife, and then, you know, beating up some on some protesters. And then that scene when he goes to like one of his old rivals, and he's repenting, like the way they're able to take these characters who are like, you know, it's just such a good movie. Patrick Wilson as Night Owl is great. The aesthetic, this is why I'm gonna say it. Snyder should just stick to adapting because I haven't seen it and I have no interest because he seeked out a weirdo like fucking Mags Visaggio who thinks like Kurt Cobain is trans. So when you're seeing it on a person like that, no, I have no interest in your movie. So, but a lot of the bad things I'm hearing about Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead was shit. So it's just he needs to stick to adapt because to me this is my favorite comic book film. This might be, you know, yeah, nostalgia wise, it's probably still Batman and the original '89 Batman, but this is to me the way this able lifts certain images from the comic, Doctor Manhattan. I actually prefer the ending to the movie than the comic, to be honest. I think the movie ending is so much better. That scene with fucking Rorschach and he ends up dying. It's so tragic too. And I get it. Rorschach, like the way the character is, you're not necessarily supposed to like him, but he was so the way he was Jackie Earle Haley played him just made it. I can't blame people. Even the comic, you know? So definitely watch Watchmen. The director said don't even bother with the theatrical. The director's cut is unfortunately not on a lot of streaming services, so you have to either get it physically or hope it's on one of those torrent sites. But yeah, but the director's cut is the only one. Just because the Watchmen story you can't condense it in only 2.5 hours. So, and Ozymandias was great as the reveal that he was the villain. Great soundtrack, great like take on just, you know, superheroes. Unfortunately, a lot of superhero films did try to just be this after a while, which got annoying. But yeah, Watchmen is that is a masterpiece in my opinion. Favorite film of 2009, but my favorite CBM ever. If not, obviously, like nostalgia, like it's probably '89 Batman and then like Spider-Man 2, but this one probably is it because just how the way this lifts from the graphic novel, like it is like a 1-to-1. This and like Sin City are like the two when I think 1-to-1 adaptions. This one, I mean, obviously minus the ending, and I actually prefer what they do in the comic. when that scene when Rorschach tortures the pedophile or the child molester killer. In the comic, I think he sets him on fire. I almost prefer the book. I mean, the movie. Just that line. What he says to him before he kills him, like. And then obviously the iconic, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me when he's in prison. Yeah, dude, Jackie Earle Haley was just so good. Yeah. Yeah, man. Great movie. But yeah, that's all I could really say. 2010 is gonna probably be another weird year because there just wasn't a lot in 2010. So that'll be interesting. So maybe that'll be next week. I'll see how I'm feeling, but most likely it'll probably be the following Monday. But anyway, later this evening, I'm going to be doing my Screenwrite article. Screenwrite is Gay Part 15. We're going to roast that Trinity article because it is retarded. Like, how anyone could say that Trinity was unappreciated when most people love her. But anyway, so, cheers and pizza. Alright, y'all. See y'all a little bit later. I do love doing this series. Anyway, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Peace.